Hi, everybody. So you are going to need your Heroes and Villains workbook for our benchmark today. We're going to do a lesson in there. So you might need to pause this and go grab it. Um, just want to review, because it's been a few weeks since we've worked in this. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we read Saving Will Scarlet, basically about Robin Hood, a legendary figure who stole from the rich and gave to the poor. And then we also read The Heist, which was kind of a similar type story about um, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. So we talked about theme of those two stories. So today we are going to read a poem called If, and I did assign this in benchmark if you wanted to listen to it. I would also like you to read it and maybe even read it out loud. Shit. Hey, everybody. So for this lesson, you are going to need your Heroes and Villains workbook. This one, hope you all have it. If not, I did assign a story from that in benchmark. So you might need to pause this, go into benchmark, find the Heroes and Villains story that I assigned you. But before we do that, I would like to kind of review a few weeks ago when we were last together. We read a couple stories, Saving Will Scarlet and The Heist, and both had a very similar theme. You guys remember what it is? It's basically taking from the rich, give to the poor, helping those, struggling and who are really in need. So today we're going to read a poem called If, and it has similar themes in there. So if you haven't yet, I would like you to read this by yourself. I want you also to maybe go into benchmark and listen to it. When you read a poem, you really need to read it 3 or 4 times so you can really understand the meaning. So if you haven't read it at least 2 times, pause this video, please. Read it and listen to it, and then come back to it and start it up again. So I'm not going to read it to you because you can listen to it in benchmark. So first of all, let's kind of review poems. If you notice, poems are not written as paragraphs, they're written as stanzas. And then you can also tell that they have numbers by certain lines. And that can usually help you say, okay, by line 10, this is what, the author's saying or the author means. So we're going to find the theme of this story, and I want you to find it. I'm not going to tell you what I think it is, because sometimes when you read poems, it kind of depends on you and your perspective. But I do want to give you a couple little kind of hints. So I'm going to read the first couple stanzas to you, and I want to see if you notice anything about those. So this is If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. Okay, one thing, this author starts the very first line. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. Okay, I don't know if you could tell, that's an idiom. You're not really keeping your head, right? But when you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, okay, that means keep calm in a crisis situation. Don't lose your, um, what? Don't lose yourself. Stay calm. And then the author also uses the word don't. Don't deal in lies. Don't give way to hating. Don't look too good. So the author is using repetition there of the word don't to try and give you some advice. So I'm not going to tell you what I think it means. I wanted to see if you can figure out what the author's message is. So I want you to reread it a couple times. Over on the left, I want you to write in what you think the theme of this story is. What does the author want you to understand by this poem? Okay, so we'll talk about that more either later today or in tomorrow's lesson. So if you're not sure, just guess. Okay, reread it again or have somebody read it out loud to you. And then there's a couple things. There's two words in here. This one right here, S-I-N-E-W. Okay, that is sinew. And honestly, I had to reread that and I actually looked it up to figure out what it was. So I want to see if you can figure out using context clues what that word means. And then up here, right here, F-O-E-S. I want you to see if you can figure out what that word means also by using the context clues. So underline those two words, and then next to it here, or up here on one of the lines, I want you to write what you think the meaning of that is. So that is the lesson for today. That's all I want you to do. And be ready to kind of answer some questions either later today or in tomorrow's lesson. Alrighty, we'll talk later.